absolutely fantastic.
It's beautiful.
And you can grill these at home. A beautiful foam sauce that we're going to put on our steak.
If I eat all of the cheese, don't go to France.
Okay.
They're all right.
Live in front of an amazing audience. Today we're going to talk about where you get your beef, where do you get your meats from, because we all have to know that. We all have to know what the animal eats, because what they're eating is what really we're going to be eating at some point. So I brought a good friend of mine, Dave Steele from Nutrafarms. Hey Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
What a great audience, eh?
Amazing.
So we were talking, and we've been talking a whole lot about this, is where you get your beef from. And Nutrafarms was started. Can you give us a little bit of history where Nutrafarms was started, how it started, and why?
Yeah, and I'd love to. Really privileged to be working with a great company like Nutrafarms. We started out in 2001 as a privately held company, still the same today. It was a vision of one individual, Russ Urbanowski, that decided that he wanted to offer a bit of a different switch from going from your mainstream markets, grocery stores and butchers, more of an exclusive product that was raised the old-fashioned way.
And what do you mean by old-fashioned way?
Well, for the most part nowadays, a lot of stuff is really mass-produced, and that's just a sign of the times. There's a lot of demand and need for products out there. So old-fashioned, when I mean that is, I mean like an 8th-generation farmer that's still doing things the same as they would have done as their great-grandfather would have farmed. So things like free-roaming animals outside, not going to a more high-density farming practice.
So the animal, they're eating grass? Is that truly what their diet is?
That is 99% of their diet, basically. With the beef specifically, they have an opportunity to range out on pasture. And really, there's not a lot of interaction between the farmer and the animal. Basically, they get to live a very stress-free life, and they grow as they grow naturally. They aren't rushed. They aren't pushed. They just grow, and when they're ready, they're ready.
And then with all your beef, you dry age your beef. That's going back truly to old school way of doing it. The way that you're going to get the most amount of flavor, the way that I love eating beef. And can you explain what dry aging versus wet aging is?
I'd love to. Again, a sign of the times is that for the most part, there's not a lot of time period from the time that they harvest an animal from the time that it actually comes to your table. The time period is very valuable to a retailer or a producer. So what Nutrafarms does is we've taken it and slowed things down a little bit. We'd prefer to actually hang our beef the old-fashioned way in a cooler, sawdust on the floor as it was done many, many years ago.
That's really cool. So just kind of filling in what I'm doing over on here is we're going to do 3 different recipes with your beef today. We're going to do steak and frites, which is that old classic French dish, which is I'm making right now some really, it's homemade French fries, but they're smaller. We're going to blanch them off. We're going to do that, and we're going to serve it with a rich Demi Glaze. So you're going to get all that great flavor. And I'm not going to overpower the flavor because the beef is where we really want to go with it. And we're going to serve a strip loin with that. Then I'm going to do a mushroom shiitake salad with arugula and spinach, again, keeping it really healthy. And just a little bit of, some Nutrafarms bacon. Awesome. And we're going to heat that up with the mushrooms, kind of give it some more flavor, and we're going to serve the ribeye with that. And for those of you who don't always have barbecue at your disposal, you know, a lot of people are living in condominiums now, and that is, I brought the old-fashioned cast iron fry pan, and we're going to grill our steaks on that, and then we're also going to grill our strip loins, so give us some different flavor. So we got some steaks over here, because I can let my potatoes go now, is that we have 3 different cuts. So we have our tenderloin, which is truly still my favorite cut of meat. You know, I do have a little bit of heart disease, so I'm watching what I'm eating. Less fat, lots of tenderness. We have our beautiful strip loin. And these are all center cut strip loins.
Yes.
Can you tell the viewer the difference between center cut and end cut?
Well, it's quite literally exactly as it sounds. The center cut meaning you're taking from the very center of the loin, and you don't use the end cuts, which are a little bit more fatty or a little less quality than your average. And you don't see that as often. Usually what happens in more of a retail environment is that they'll just cut the whole loin, and it'll all be priced the same way.
Okay, so they're getting perfectly, as you can see this, and I hope the camera can get this, there's no lines, nothing, just beautiful, and then a ribeye. Now, when I'm thinking back to the ribeye, and you know, I've been cooking for a few years now, is that when you do a regular ribeye, you'll see a whole big fat cap here. When they're eating grass, they're not getting that big fat anymore, are they?
Well, it's truly the difference between if you decided to stay at home and sit on your couch all day and just eat, you're going to get a lot of outside fat, right? What you really want to see in a good piece of marbled steak or beef, period, is you want to see some of the fat running through the muscle material itself, which gives that flavor. But you're not going to have to use that fat for flavor, because truly the flavor within the meat itself, because they're eating properly, is going to come through right in the muscle meat itself.
Perfect. So we got 3 great pieces here. We're going to have 2 of them, and then you and I are going to have some tenderloin
I
later,
hope so,
okay?
yeah, that'd
So
be
we're going
great.
to come back over here just for a second so the viewers can see what we're doing here. So what I've done is I've taken a mandolin, and I have the safety. My producer made me make sure that I had the safety today, because we couldn't go to the hospital today. So we're going to take I love using Yukon Golds for making frites. I think the sugar in it and the makeup of the potato just makes a perfect fry. So we're just going to take our guard, put it on, run it across our mandolin. Great thing about this mandolin, you can pick it up at Stop Restaurant Supplies, and they have lots of them there. Check that this morning. So we have a bunch of it. And if you can see this, and I'll just kind of point it out to the camera, you can see a little bit of sheen to the potato. That's the starch and sugar coming out of the potato. Now, if we left it alone, just like so, it would start getting really dark, and it would go really brown. So we don't want that. So we're going to dump them into a bowl, and what we're going to do is take it from here, is we're going to put it under cold water. We're going to let it rinse for about 2 or 3 minutes just to get all that extra starch off, and away we go. And the other thing, because we're coming into the season in September here, where we're getting the last of our older potatoes before all the new potatoes start coming in, and so it's going to be lots more sugars in it. So that you definitely want to make sure you put it under cold water. So we're going to put it under cold water, let that do its thing. We're going to clean up shortly. We're going to bring Dave back. I'm going to do some more cooking, some different salads, and you can join me on At Home with Chef D at the Kitchener Market. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back to At Home with Chef D, live at the Kitchener Market, live in front of a great studio audience. You guys are absolutely amazing. Even through the breaks, they're enjoying this. They're not getting too bored. It's all been good. So, you guys still having fun? I really don't think the viewers at home heard how much fun they're missing out on. Are you guys having some fun? That's much better. So, before we went to break, we were talking about doing some frites and how you blanch them off. So, I'm just going to bring them out. I've been putting them under some cold water, and you'll just see that there's still a little bit of cloudiness to the water with the fries. We're going to now drain them, rinse them off with a little bit more water, and then we're going to take them and blanch them in the deep fryer first. And we'll blanch them for about 1.5 minutes just to get the cooking process started. We'll chill them down in the refrigerator for about a half an hour, come back with it, and we'll make our frites that way. So this is a long process, but you can do it at home. And if you're doing this, you can also do it like over a day. So let's say you're having a dinner party on Friday where you want to have the steak and frites. You want to do it, the blanching and that, put it, saran wrap over it. It'll be perfect for the next day. And the fries actually taste better the next day too. So we're just going to quickly rinse these off. Grab our bowl. I'm going to bring them over. You guys got to all follow me over here to the deep fryer. And then we're just going to put them into our baskets, just a little bit at a time. In it goes. Now, years ago, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. When I was not looking after my health as much as I do now, I would deep fry the fries in beef shortening. And that flavor there's second to none. But since I am trying to watch my weight a little bit more, we're going to do it just in a regular vegetable shortening. So they're going to work on that about 1.5 minutes. We're going to come back to them. You don't want them to brown. All you're doing is blanching them off, getting them ready. Now, if you wanted to do a whole different way about this and you're really concentrating, I love fries, but I want to cut the fat down by 30%, The great thing by using a liquid shortening, like a vegetable shortening, is that you could start them off, the potato actually in the oil at room temperature, and then slowly bring the temperature up. And what's going to happen there is when we do it this way, the potato opens up and the fat goes into it, so you get a little bit more fat. When you don't do it that way, it takes longer for the fat to come in, and you don't get as much fat in it. So that's a whole different part. We'll come back to it. So now, as I mentioned to Dave earlier, we're going to do steak and frites. So we're going to make a Demi Glaze. And this Demi Glaze is an absolute great starter sauce because you can take it in so many different ways. And the great thing about it is it has that beefy flavor that you don't have to overcompensate any of the flavor or miss out on any of the great flavor of any of the great steaks that you have. So what I've done is I've taken some Nutrafarms short ribs. Now they have some great fat, again, some bone, because you want a little bit of the marrow to thicken the sauce. I've roasted it in the oven for about 45 minutes. I'm going to grab those. Maybe I won't be grabbing them. We're going to take them and just perfectly little brown we got some beef stock going in our pressure cooker. Away we go. We're going to add some onions. I've chopped up 2 onions. Now, like I said to you, and those of you who've seen me before, and those of you at home know, that you don't have to use Spanish onions. You can use whatever onions you have at home. If you have shallots, put them in. So we're going to put 2 cups of onions into the Demi Glaze. 2 cloves of fresh Ontario garlic. I have a little bit left from the Stratford Festival, and then September's coming soon, and we'll be there very shortly. Some carrots. Some red wine. Now, I'm a firm believer when it comes to cooking wine is that you use inexpensive wine for the cooking. You save the really good stuff for you and your guests, okay? So we're going to put in some red wine, about half a bottle. You can put in a little bit more if you want. We're going to keep that aside because we'll need a little bit of that later. And then I'm going to run and grab some cold water. You don't want hot water at this point because then that's going to bring out the marrow really quickly. And you don't want that because then it's going to make your stock go really cloudy. And you don't want a cloudy stock. So we're going to do that. I'm doing it in a pressure cooker because it's going to lock in all that great flavor. And then we'll reduce it down a little bit more later. So we're going to start that. I'm going to go over to my fries. Frites. I'm going to let them drain. So I'm just going to let the oil drain off for a second. I'm going to put them in a bowl. We're going to put them in the refrigerator, let them chill down, and then we're going to come back to them in just a second. Well, maybe about 5 minutes. It's cooking seconds. In it goes. And you can just see it's got the sheen of the oil on it. We're going to put it into the refrigerator, let it chill down, and it's going to be absolutely perfect for us. You don't want to see the inside of that refrigerator. It's way too full right now. So just back to our Demi Glaze, I'm going to put a little bit of tomato in just for that added flavor. Close it up and let it do its thing. Just going to quickly clean up here. Now, we're going to get our mushrooms started as well. Just put a little bit of the Nutrafarms bacon in the freezer, just because what happens when you put it in the freezer, when you're trying to cut bacon and it gets all real squiggly and you can't really cut it real fine, you put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes, it firms it up, and you can cut it really nicely. So we're going to take some bacon here. We all like bacon, right? We're all good with the bacon? You guys aren't falling asleep on me here, are you? So we're going to chop our bacon up, a nice little fine dice. We're going to use about, half a cup to a cup, depends on how much you want. If you want to put more in, there's never really enough bacon in this world. So in the bacon goes. The other great thing about, knowing where your meat comes from is that, I know that Nutrafarms doesn't pump their meat full of water. So the bacon's not going to have a whole bunch of water in it. It's going to be really nice. It's going to get nice and brown for us. quickly though, because I know we're coming in, we're going to switch sections in a second, is I want to get our ribeyes going. I have my cast iron fry pan nice and hot. That's the other secret, is that you want the pan nice and hot. We're going to take our beef, put it on. You can just hear the sear. We're going to season it just with a little bit of salt and just a touch of pepper. That's all you need. And I'm going to see you back here in a couple minutes on At Home with Chef D, live at the Kitchener Market.
Back to the Kitchener Market with At Home with Chef D. I'm left up here to fend for myself, but over at the other side is Chef D picking some lucky individuals.
Come on, ladies. Welcome to the closer part of At Home with Chef D. Now, you know, you guys are good? You're okay? Okay, you're having fun today? Oh, yeah. Are you learning anything?
Yeah, lots.
You might take something back and actually cook with it? Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I have to, you know, as much as I'd love to talk with you, you know, the audience is wanting me to do something, and the people at home want me to start cooking again. Is that okay? Yep. Okay, perfect. So we're going to get going. So during the commercial break, we've cooked off our steaks. We've seared them off in the cast iron fry pan. I've also grilled off our strip loins. Look at the mushrooms have done their thing, Dave. The bacon, you're smelling all that beautiful hardwood bacon. We're going to add just a little bit of chives at the end. Again, chive is that combination garlic, onion. It's going to give it a whole bunch of little bit of flavor right at the end. Oh, yeah. That's going to do its thing. That's doing its thing. Now, our Demi Glaze, we've taken it from the pressure cooker, reduced it down, strained it, and now it's just kind of percolating here. We're going to let it reduce down a little bit, and we're going to add a little bit of a wine slurry to it. And that's not slurring words. That's actual terminology, okay? So we're going to do that. And then Dave, I thought, you know, because you guys not only do amazing beef, but you do some amazing chicken. And your chicken isn't pumped full of water, is it?
No, and we're very fortunate to have one of the only plants left in Ontario that is actually inspected by an actual inspector, as well as the birds come in and they don't touch water at any point in time. So typically what you get, with the exception of coming maybe to the farmer's market if you want to make the trips, like this great farmer's market here, it's very difficult to find a chicken that hasn't been sitting in water for extended periods of time.
Agreed. So with your beautiful chicken that I've roasted off, you know, while everybody else is having a good time during the breaks, is I'm going to make a Caprese salad. And a Caprese salad is just that beautiful, fresh basil, because basil just invites you to eat. And then we're going to add some yellow and orange and red grape tomatoes. Mario's Own. You can buy them here at the market, which is really great because the Hot House Association has band together and doing some really great things with tomatoes. Just like what you're doing with meats, they're doing it with tomatoes. They taste amazing. So I put a little bit of bocconcini in for my friends at Solano, and that's going to be right there. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. And this olive oil, folks, is a real treat. This is like one of only 1,000 bottles in the whole world. So we're going to drizzle a little bit of this great olive oil from Italy. Again, you know, we're tying in all these great flavors, all these farms, and this is what's growing on the farm is the olive oil, is all these great flavors together. We're going to make it work. We're just put a little bit of olive oil on that. You're going to watch that for me while I go over here. Now, our frites, because we got to get this going too, is we have our frites chilled down. We're going to put them in for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, get them nice and brown, and go from there. So, Dave, how long is a chicken's life in a Nutrafarm world?
Well, a typical chicken, there's two different kinds. There are broilers and then there are fryers. A fryer would be a quicker, or about a 35, 40-day chicken. Typically what we use is more of a broiler, which is about a 75-day-old chicken. A little bit bigger, a little bit more mature, and then a lot better tasting.
Nice. So it's got some great flavor. So, as I mentioned to you all earlier, we're going to make our slurry now. And this is a little thickening agent that we're going to make just to make that we don't have any lumps in it. Because there's nothing worse than having this great sauce and having a whole bunch of lumps in it. No lumps, right? No lumps, right?
No.
There we go. So we're going to add a little bit of cornstarch. Now, If you don't like cornstarch in your diet, you could use some arrowroot flour or some potato flour, and just that would work really well. So we have about a half a cup of red wine, and we're going to do 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. We're going to mix this together, and this is what makes our slurry. And our slurry is going to be all put together. Just kind of stir it all in so that we dissolve all the cornstarch or tapioca powder or arrowroot flour, whatever you like. And then we're going to slowly add it to our Demi Glaze. I want to add just a little bit at a time so you can see. If you want it really thick, you can have it really thick. If you don't, you can cut it back a little bit. Now we're just going to add a little bit more. It's going to finish it nicely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's doing that. We got our frites going on. I'm going to quickly make our salad because I know we're running out of time. Grab some of our great. Oh, look at this. It's a thing of beauty. That
Isn't
chicken,
it? Yeah.
had 75 great days to that one bad day.
One bad day, yeah.
So we're going to just put this to the side right now. I'm going to grab a couple bowls here to make our salad with our steak. So I'm taking some fresh arugula, some fresh spinach that I just got at the market. We're going to put it in the bowl just like so. We're going to grab our mushroom, and just like they're just nice and crisp. And when you crisp mushrooms up like this, it just gives it a whole different flavor, a lot more sweet going to it. We're going to put it on like so. Grab our steak. And ladies, you're going to start eating in just a second. Cut it on a bias. On that goes.
Lucky.
Now, we didn't season it with a lot of olive oil or anything. It's just you want to get the flavor from the steak and the mushroom. So if you'd like to start eating that, I'm going to put together our plates. I'm going to say thank you very much, Dave Steele, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
A lot about our beef, where our beef comes from, where our chicken comes from, how great it is, and you're doing some great things, and I just absolutely love what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
We're going to get our frites out. We're going to get our frites on, and then I'm going to grab our steak out of the oven. How's that, ladies? Take our strip loin. On it goes. Grab some of our frites. Till next time on At Home with Chef D, I'll see you soon. Come and visit me at the market.